Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live Q&A today. So glad you're joining us. Today, we're going to be talking about SEO a little bit. We're going to be talking about Etsy ads a little bit. And then we're just going to have some Q&A time. So I'm going to be answering your questions about all things Etsy related. For any Etsy sellers that are, maybe you're just starting out, maybe you've just opened your shop, maybe you're just researching and you don't know if you're ready to start on Etsy yet, but you're interested. Maybe you've been on Etsy for a while and you just want to learn how to level up. So wherever you are in your Etsy journey, I'm here to walk with you and help you guys to increase your sales and your Etsy traffic. So we're going to be answering lots of questions today. I'm not doing a shop audit today. I will be doing a shop audit on our next live Q&A session. So today is just a pure Q&A. So first, we're going to start by talking about a little bit about SEO, because I get a lot of questions about SEO and specifically SEO for Etsy in 2021. So there's a couple of things. If you've already watched, I have a video specifically about Etsy SEO. If you haven't seen that, it's on the Etsy playlist on the channel. So I would encourage you after this to go and watch that. But I'm going to give you guys a few extra SEO tips that are not really in that video. So the first thing is that you want to make sure that you're thinking about your keywords, but also getting your business name into certain parts of your Etsy shop. So this doesn't just mean your listing pages, but this means any page on your Etsy shop that's considered like a content-rich page, which would be your about page, your, of course, your listing descriptions, but also your page or your shop title. So this is not the shop name, but the little area where you can put a little shop title. So you want to make sure to utilize and optimize all of these different areas of your shop that are sometimes overlooked to get as many chances of getting your keywords in front of people that are searching either on Etsy or on Google, so that the search engine that they're on can tap into your page and your shop and figure out if it's a good match for the searcher. So make sure when you're filling in your shop title that you use some specific keywords. Think about some keywords that describe your shop. So something that you would search if you were thinking about your type of items, if you were a buyer and you're trying to search for something, what would you type in the search bar? And to use some specific long tail keywords in that little area that is the shop title. You can also put your name in there. So this is more if you're getting a little more established and you're having some return customers or people that would know your brand by the name. It's great to get your name, not just in the title, but also in that in your descriptions, in the about page, so that the search engine has multiple pages that it's registering, this business name. So if someone actually does search by your business name, they're familiar with your brand somehow, either they're returning or they know your brand somehow and they're searching for it. That way you can guarantee that your shop will pop up in the search results as one of the first results, because you would hate for somebody to actually be like searching for your shop by name and it's still not pop up in the results. So make sure that you're getting your business name in, of course, the title, the page title, the shop title, your description of your listings, as well as your about page. Hi, guys. I see some people joining. Thanks for hopping on this Saturday. Hope you guys are doing well. As people are joining, comment, let me know where you're from, where you're watching from. Always interested to see where everyone is, what time it is where you are. It's crazy to me. We have people from all around the world watching. So hopefully this will help you guys today to get some tips for your Etsy shop. So going back to our SEO tips, one thing is the meta description. So the meta description is basically the first 160 words of your listing description. So on each listing page, you have that area for the description. You can write whatever you want. And the thing with the meta description, those first 160 words are really important, not necessarily directly connected with SEO, although search engines do use your keywords in your description to see if it's a match, but also mainly those first 160 words are to get the buyer or the potential buyer, the searcher, to click through on your listing. So you want to make sure that as you're typing out your descriptions of course, those first words are the most important. You want to make sure that it's readable, that it sounds really natural, that when someone is deciding if they're going to click through or not, they're not confused about what it's saying. It's not just a bunch of keyword stuffing. It needs to be flowing really naturally and beautifully. So think a lot about that first section of your description called the meta description, how you can get some keywords in there, but also how you can make it sound really nice, natural, flowy, all of that. All right. So the next thing I wanted to mention is not necessarily tied to your SEO, but it is a good tip for people that are returning to your website or trying to remember what your company name is, what your website is. You want to get your own domain name. So I know, the default domain when you get an Etsy shop is the /shop. It's like a long thing. So you want to go ahead and purchase your own domain name so it's easier for people to type it in. So let's say your brand name was Katie's Designs and Threads. You would want to go and buy that domain so it could be like katiesdesigns.com or katiesdesignsandthreads.com. There's nothing about Etsy /shop/ anything. It's really simple. It's easy for people. So when you buy a domain name, there's several different platforms you can do that on. I use GoDaddy for mine, and I've been pleased with it. But you go on and see if that domain name that you want is available, and then you can purchase it on the website, and then you link it straight to your Etsy shop. So when somebody types in that specific domain name, it goes straight to your Etsy shop. Super easy, but it's one thing you can do to really level up and help your customers, especially people that are returning, that maybe they remember your business name, but they don't remember the exact URL for your shop. That helps them in returning. And then the last thing I wanted to mention here was for your shop section. So we want to be using a category style name for your shop sections. If you don't yet have shop sections, you definitely need to think about how you could divide up the listings in your shop into sections. That helps people when they're first on there to kind of get an idea of what all you offer, and they don't feel like they're having to scroll through everything to get to the listing that they want. It's easy to navigate. So first of all, you need shop sections, but once you have your shop sections, you want to think about what you're naming them. It's important for SEO. That's another way that search engines can figure out what your page or your shop is all about to see if you're a match for the searcher. So we're using, like, an example would be like if you sell jewelry. I'm going to use a necklace as an example. So just using the term necklaces is probably too general. You want to think about most people, if they're searching for a necklace, they probably have an idea of what type of necklace they want. They may not know exactly, but they may have a general idea of like, I want a customized necklace. I want a personalized necklace. I want a handwriting necklace or something like that. So when you're dividing up your shop into your sections, think about some more specific like categories that you can name your sections to give your SEO another boost. When the search engine is looking at your shop, it will see what those sections are named, and that can just be one more touch point for the search engine to figure out if it's a match and where they should rank you. Remember also with SEO in general, your tags, your keywords, everything should be very natural sounding. Search engines are very smart, and they can tell if you're keyword stuffing, if you are trying to like get around the system in any way. There's a lot of things that people try to kind of like hack the system. Don't do any of that. We're trying to get some natural organic traffic with good SEO practices. So one really good practice is not to keyword stuff, which basically means that you're finding spots in your descriptions in different areas that you're just you're just stuffing a bunch of random, like not relevant keywords that don't even match your listing. We want all of our keywords and tags and titles to be relevant, to actually be correct and accurate, so that the right people are being sent to our shop from the search engine. So it needs to be natural. It needs to be, you need to think about keywords that you would search if you were looking for something like that. It needs to be readable. It needs to be something that the average person would know to type. So if it's some technical word that like most people don't even know, I wouldn't use it, because most people are not going to know to search that. You want to use you want to be specific, but you also want to use words that most people know and most people would know to search. All right. I see a bunch of comments. Hi, everybody. Hi, Angela. Hi, Stephanie. I'm so glad you guys could join. Hey, Jean. I'm starting to recognize some of these same names over and over again. I love you guys for hopping on. It's so fun to connect with y'all. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Michael. Okay. So if some of you are on the Facebook group, I did want to mention we have our new Facebook group, and a lot of you have joined that community group. If you're interested, I'm going to go ahead and type it in the link in the comments here. I would love for you guys to hop over and join our Facebook group. I am just going live more over there a little bit, or the intention is for me to be able to go live more to give you guys some extra tips in between the videos here on YouTube, and just to have a community of people that can, even if I'm not available all the time to answer everyone's questions, I'm going to chime in as much as possible. But you guys have been awesome about answering each other's questions and just having that community. So I think it's really great to have that as an Etsy seller, especially if you're just starting and you have like all the questions. I remember that feeling of just being overwhelmed, and it helps to have other people that have been there and been on a little longer than you and can give you some tips. So that link is also in the description if you want to hop over and join. Make sure when you join or you request to join, there's 2 membership questions. So you need to make sure you're answering both of those, because I'm not approving anyone that doesn't have those 2 questions answered. So make sure you answer both of those membership questions. All right. Hey, Patricia. Glad you're here. Hey, Dee. Hey, Shayna. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to mention before we hop into the Q&A is I've been doing a little bit of more research on Etsy ads, because I get a lot of questions about how Etsy ads work. What are some good ways to make sure you're, getting a return on your investment for the advertising budget? Okay, so I wanted to mention with Etsy ads, if you're going to try Etsy ads, one good strategy is, oh, sorry, y'all. I got this giant cup. I'm like, let's knock that whole thing over. Okay. Y'all just bear with me. I have mom brain right now. I'm doing my best to stay focused here. Etsy ads. Okay. So one good strategy with Etsy ads is to start by promoting all of your listings. Like if you have never tried Etsy ads before and you're just starting, it's a great idea to just, if you have the budget for it, start by promoting all your listings to kind of give it just a jump start so that you can have somewhere to start and see which ones will kind of take off from there. So, of course, this only works if you have a good budget for it. If you only have a small, like limited budget, this, it may not work to put it behind all your listings. But in general, I would recommend to try them all at first and then give it like 30 days, give it like a month and see how they perform with the ads. And then you can look at your metrics to see which listings are performing best. So there's actually on the Etsy site, if you go to your dashboard and you go to where the Etsy ads are, there's metrics. So you can see your click-through rate. You can see your ROAS, which is return on ad spend. That basically tells you for every dollar that you're spending in Etsy ads, how much return are you getting? So those both, the click-through rate and that are good metrics to tell you which listings are performing best with the ads behind them. There's no use in putting a bunch of money behind listings that are not performing well. So you want to be able to figure out which ones are the best ones that are performing with the ads, and then kind of narrow your budget down for only those listings that are doing well with the ads behind them. So that's basically the idea if you're just starting the ads, and then you want to just focus your budget. And, of course, you want to try different things. You don't want to just keep it the same all the time. Like if it's a seasonal thing, if you have seasonal products, you may want to throw a little bit more into your advertising budget behind certain seasonal listings, like if it's Christmas time or Mother's Day, whatever the season that's coming up or the holiday that you think people may really be like tuning in for at this moment. Of course, you can always change which listings you're putting your advertising budget behind, and kind of focus your budget behind the right ones for the right time of year, if that makes sense. But you just want the general idea is that you want to go on and look at your metrics. You want to know what's working, what's not working with the ads, and you want to tailor it and focus your budget to the ones that have the strong ROAS. Okay. You can see that. Hope that's not too confusing. You can see that on your dashboard under your marketing tab. So let me know if you have any questions about that. He said, morning, what are you drinking? So this is my liquid IV. You guys have probably heard me talk about it before. This is the energy multiplier. So this is like a green color. It's like a lemon ginger flavor. Liquid IV is basically like it's a little packet that you mix with water. It's a drink packet, and it hydrates you. This one specifically is the energy multiplier. So this is what I go to for like if I need a boost of energy. Usually I'm drinking this like at 2 p.m., 2 or 3 p.m., like that time in the afternoon when you just feel like you're dragging and you need a little boost. So that's what I'm drinking this morning. It's the lemon ginger. And actually, so liquid IV, I just saw this comment over here. Frozen, try refreshing. Okay, hold on. Can you guys see me? Or am I frozen now? Let me know if you can see me and hear me, or if I'm frozen. All right, somebody said they use liquid IV during a hike. Yeah, that's a great idea for sure. So the liquid IV is actually having a Memorial Day sale. Y'all know I have a code if you're ever interested in that. It's katehayes.co is the code. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with these comments. Hopefully I'm not frozen. But the code is katehayes.co, and the link for liquid IV is in the description if you're ever interested in trying. I've loved all the different flavors I've tried. They have a lot of different great ones to keep you hydrated if you just need a little bit of extra something, other than just plain water. Okay, you can see and hear me. Good. Okay, sorry, y'all. I don't know why it froze for a minute there, but hopefully it's back. Okay, so I'm going to scroll up and start with, I don't know if I've received any questions yet. If you have a specific question you want me to answer, go ahead and put it in the comments and put 4 question marks in front of it so I can more easily kind of tell which ones are the questions I need to answer. And I'm going to get to as many as I can. Remember, you guys, if you want me for sure to answer your question, I'm going to get to as many as I can, but there always is the super chat and the super sticker. I've mentioned this before. You can donate whatever amount you want to the channel, and that will give you a super chat or a super sticker. You should see the option to do that somewhere around your chat box or the video somewhere. And what it does is when you donate whatever amount you choose, it'll highlight your comment. If you do a super chat, it'll highlight it in like a bold color so that I'll see it and it'll pop up to the top, and I will answer your question right away to make sure we get yours answered. And that helps us. As you guys know, this is all free. Everything we do on this channel is free. I don't have any intention of ever charging for a course or anything. We're giving you guys our best tips and information from our time on Etsy and the success that we've had. So I really want to help you, walk with you on this journey, and create this community here. So those super chats and super stickers help us to be able to continue to do it for free, because we do have expenses that go into making our videos. So that just helps us to be able to continue to offer things for free and not feel like we have to create some course that we were going to have to charge you guys for. I never want to do that. I really don't ever want to do that. So I'm not saying we won't ever, but that's the intention, is to like give you guys everything we have for free. That's what I want to do. So if you have a question, make sure to, if you want it answered first, go ahead and do that super chat or super sticker. All right, so I'm going to scroll up and start at the beginning here. Okay, Sherry said, I'm getting my Etsy shop up this weekend. Awesome, Sherry. I'm so excited for you. You have to let us know how it goes. Okay, so can you put things in more than one section? I think you're talking about the shop sections. I think it's probably best. I'm not sure if you actually can or not. I'll have to look at that, but I think it's probably best just to have them in one section. That's what I would think. So it's not confusing for people. But I'll have to look at that and see. You should definitely be able to tell just by going to that listing and then where you choose the section, see if it gives you the option to put it in another one. Let's see. Okay, so D says, why wouldn't we use technical keywords if our audience would know it? Not most people. Okay, so I guess it just depends on your strategy. If you're not trying to appeal to like a broad audience, if you have a very niche audience, like it's very specific, it's not going to be most people, then it's fine. If you're just trying to appeal to that very niche specific audience, then yeah, if it's a technical word but most of your people would know it, then that's fine to use. But I guess I'm talking more about trying to appeal to a broader audience that's not quite as niche. Then you want to use words that people would know, because you have to think about what people would type into search. And they may not know like those very specific, like those technical words that you would know possibly. All right. Okay, D says Etsy has an ad guide in the seller guide section. Very helpful. They have best practices. Yes, Etsy has a lot of great stuff in the seller handbook. So if you're not familiar with the seller handbook, they have so many great articles there. I would definitely recommend going and just kind of looking through. You can search for specific things you want to research. But yeah, definitely go check out the Etsy guide. Okay. Michael says, can I do email marketing by collecting my customers? I think you mean like collecting their emails. So you definitely can do this. I recommend email marketing for sure. So if you can build an email list, that's just another touch point you can have with your customers to try to encourage some return business. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. You have to have their permission, obviously, to opt in with their email address to your list. But a lot of people do this by offering some kind of incentive. So it could be a discount code for their next purchase. It could be a freebie of some sort. But basically, you're offering something free to them in return for them giving you their email address and signing up for your email list. So yeah, that's a great idea. If you want to build an email list, you can start now. And that's just another way to connect with your audience apart from the platform of Etsy. All right. Patricia says, how do you research what's trendy? I'm a little lost. Okay, so this is a great question because you definitely need to know what's trending currently, what things, every product has a peak, right? It'll build and build and build and peak, and then it'll decline at a certain point and kind of go out of style at a certain point. So you need to be able to kind of stay ahead of that and know what's trending, what things are coming, and be able to stay ahead of the curve so that you can be there when it peaks and you can get the business. So to research what's trending, what I usually do is it's pretty simple. There's a lot of different kind of opinions on this, but I just go on Etsy and I type in whatever product category I'm thinking of and see what pops up on the first page of results, because we know the things that pop up on the first and second page are doing well. They're the best sellers. They're the ones that are making consistent sales. That's why they're coming up on the first couple of pages of the search results. So go on there and just kind of with an observant eye, you're going to try to like take note of what things are working for people. So what styles do you see that's, like it depends on your product, but I'm thinking what kind of materials are being used, what patterns are being used, what colors are being used, what fonts are being used. You just have to kind of take note of all of that, and also not just in the product itself, but the photography, like what style of photos do these listings have, because obviously something's working, people are clicking and buying. So you're not copying, but you're taking note of success, what's working for these people, and how can I use that and put my own spin on it. Etsy also has articles that they come out with every now and then about trending, things that are trending for certain years and certain seasons. So those usually come out in the Etsy seller handbook. So you can always go there and search what's trending there too. But in general, if it's not like a holiday season or something like that, I just kind of go on every now and then and check to see within my niche and within my product category what things are selling well at the time. Okay. How will I know if my shop is doing good or not? I think the main way of telling this is if you're getting consistent sales. Obviously, if your shop is successful, you'll be getting consistent sales. It may take a while to build up to that, but you definitely can tell if you're not getting sales, something's wrong, and you need to be able to look through your listings and through your shop and be able to kind of analyze the different areas of what things you could level up, what things you could be doing better and improving. So sales, I would say, are the first thing. Another metric to look at is your reviews. So it's really important to have great social proof on Etsy. That means you're getting good 5-star reviews from people that have bought from you. They're coming back because they're so pleased. They want to leave you good feedback. And that helps potential buyers in the future just to feel safe, to feel like this business is established. They have had customers that have been pleased. So you definitely want to be able to look at your reviews too and have reviews coming in. As your sales grow, your reviews should be growing too. You should be able to have people coming back and leaving you good feedback. Okay. Kitty says, how to market yourself for a new shop. Okay, so for a brand new shop, there are a lot of different ways to do this. There are a lot of different opinions. My favorite way, and the thing that I've always done, is through social media. So I always say Facebook groups are a great way to start. You can always use Instagram. You can use Pinterest. You can do email marketing. But what I did worked for me, and that was a Facebook group. So I always recommend, actually, I have a whole video on this in the Etsy playlist. So after this, you may want to go watch that. It's all about increasing your sales. But basically, to start, I would encourage you, if you're on Facebook, to get a business page and a group. But the magic's going to happen on the group. So the group is where you're going to build your audience by doing freebies and giveaways and offering discounts. Sorry, I'll have a dry throat today. But you're basically going to use that group to build your audience so that you have people to promote to, right? It doesn't work if you don't have anyone to like put your products in front of. So you need an audience, which is where the Facebook group comes in handy. So you're going to build that audience by offering giveaways and freebies. And then once you've established a pretty good size audience, you're going to launch with a big discount. So you're going to offer like 40 or 50% off, something that's very incentivizing for people to purchase in the beginning. Because your whole job in the beginning is to get the ball rolling, whatever it takes, even if you have to take a loss a little bit financially in the beginning. I personally think it's worth it to do that in the beginning to get some momentum and get some sales, because once you have some sales on your listings, then the Etsy algorithm will pick you up and start the ball rolling with organic traffic. So if you're brand new, that's what I would suggest. Of course, you can always do other social media platforms as well. I mostly used Facebook, and that worked for me. So that's always what I'm going to kind of point people towards. But of course, Pinterest is a whole nother thing. So you can definitely use a lot of different methods to promote yourself. Okay. Jean says, is it best to let listings sell out before repopulating them, or should I update them before they sell out? Thanks. Okay, so the way that I always do it is I just have it on automatic renewal. So I don't ever manually renew anything. I just have it automatic because most of my items are made to order, and I make sure I have inventory for everything so that I'm never really out of stock, unless one of my suppliers is out of stock and I'm not able to get the materials I need. But in general, I keep the materials on hand and make it to order. So I'm just on automatic renewal. So I would say, don't quote me on this because I'm not sure how it would affect your listing if you let it sell out. But I would tend towards not letting it sell out. I would always keep it stocked if possible. If it's something that's going to sell well, and has been successful in the past, then I would probably lean towards keeping it going and not letting them sell out. Okay. Do you need a business bank account to be paid by Etsy? Yeah. Well, you do need a bank account because you're going to have to link your shop with a bank account. It can be any bank. It can be any like checking account. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have to be like an official business account. But you do have to have a bank account linked to get paid. Right. Okay, rephrase question. How to market your product. Let's see. Okay, so I'm sorry if I'm not understanding your question the right way, but I would say marketing, like I said, there's a lot of different platforms you can market on. Some people advise to like get on all the different platforms and just like put yourself out there. I would recommend only choosing one or two to start with to like really hone in on and put all your energy and your effort into. So I put most of my energy into Facebook marketing. And once I launch the shop, I think maybe you're asking after the launch, how do you continue to market your product to people? So every now and then, I just tried to be engaging in my Facebook page and my Facebook group with people. I tried to do like regular discounts and, regular things that would keep the momentum and the engagement up, like little giveaways or things like that. But there's a lot of different ways you can market. If you have an email list, that's definitely one way that's great because it's not dependent on the platform. You grow your email list and then you're sending out promotions and things that you're doing through email. You're putting your product in front of people. Of course, you can always do paid advertising, which would be like your Etsy ads or paid Instagram or Facebook ads. So there's a lot of different ways that you can market your product to get it in front of people. But I find that like if things are particularly slow and I'm trying to kind of like drum up a little bit more business, the giveaways and the discounts help for sure. And over on the Facebook community, I actually put up a little video talking about combining using Etsy ads with a major discount. So if things are just like super slow and you don't know what's going on, you're just trying to get something going. I've used the combination of running some Etsy ads and paid Etsy ads on the listings that I have like a 50% off discount because you're just trying to basically like get a sale or two on the listing to like boost it a little bit. So that's one thing that I do. But there's a lot of different ways that you can market your product and get it in front of people. For the month of May, I had an embarrassing sale of 7 items. Traffic is pitiful. Working on a newly opened Pinterest account to try and drive traffic to my Etsy website. Yeah, so it's just different times of the year are better and worse in general on Etsy. And then depending on your specific product, there's slow times, there are super busy times. It's crazy the range that I have personally seen in my shop from like just so like overwhelmingly busy to like crickets, and so that's the thing with Etsy is you kind of have to be ready for that and don't get down when it gets slow because it always picks back up at a certain time. If you're doing the right things, you have good photos, you have SEO, you have good products, it'll pick back up. It's such an up and down thing. It's seasonal. It's for holidays. People are on different times of the year for different things. So don't get down about it. Summer is typically the slowest time for most people, unless you have like a specific niche that is better in the summer. But like for most people, the summer months are just slower. I made 10 sales in my first month and got 1 review. Is that normal? Okay, yeah. So that's awesome because a lot of people don't even make any sales in their first month. I think it took me a couple months to get my first sale. So 10 sales, that's really great. And you got a review. So that's great. I would say that's a good start. You definitely want to be always thinking about how you can get more reviews, more people to return. You can make sure to leave them a note on the packing slip or the email that they get, like a little thank you note with a return discount code or something like that, to incentivize them to come back and leave a review. You can also reach out to them after the package has arrived and just say something really nice that's not like super annoying, but just like be very friendly, like one time, and just say, hey, just checking to make sure you received your package and that you're pleased with your purchase. And if you are, I'd love some feedback if you have time to go leave us a review. But of course, you don't want to like hound people and do that over and over again, but there's things like that you can do to increase your chance of people coming back to leave you a review. But yeah, I mean, I think 10 sales in your first month is great for sure. Okay, talked about how to encourage more reviews. Is it good to go with breakable items like wine glasses? So that's up to you. Of course, there's dangers to having breakable items. You have to make sure that if you're selling very fragile things, that you're packaging it correctly. So I would think through the packaging of things like that before you just jump into selling something that's very breakable. Make sure that you're able to afford the proper packaging so that it's getting to the location it's meant for in one piece. And you need to probably price out that packaging because it may be more expensive than you're thinking to have all of the padding and everything that comes with it. So yeah, you can, but I would definitely think through it first as far as the packaging. It may be a little more complicated than you're thinking. Okay. Let's see. Fit Habitat says, if you're getting lots of clicks through ads, but no purchases, should you stop the ads? Okay, that's a great question. So I think for this, if you're getting clicks, that means that your at least your first photo is enticing for people to click on. It's clickable. The title is probably good because people are clicking through on it. Something is having them stop after they click. So you have to kind of think through the different elements of your listing. And like one by one, I would just go through it systematically and think to yourself, objectively, what in the listing could be causing people to like, they want to click on it, looks great at first, but then they don't want to make the purchase. Could it be your price point? Maybe it's too expensive. Maybe it's not quite enough and people are suspicious about why it's too cheap. It could be either of those. It could be something in the rest of your photos. Like maybe as they're clicking through the photos, like one of them is kind of off or it shows something weird or kind of makes them think it's not as great as the first photo. It could be something in your description. Maybe they're not getting enough information in your description. Like if they want the specific size of something or the measurements and it's not there, then they figure, well, that's not enough information for me. So it could be a lot of different things. You kind of just have to be objective and go through the different elements of your listing to figure out what's causing them to click but not purchase. But your question was, should you stop the ad? So I would probably... I probably wouldn't stop the ads. I probably would just go in and change the listing, like try to improve the listing and then see if anything changes. If you've changed everything and improved everything that you can and it's still not making sales, then eventually I would say, yeah, for sure, stop the ads on that listing. But if you haven't really tried to improve anything on it yet, maybe you should just think of a couple things you could level up and improve on the listing and keep the ads going for a minute so that you can see if there's a difference after you improve some things. Let's see. Okay, Laurie says, have you heard anything about Etsy changing their algorithms? We opened in February, have over 100 sales, FAV 5-star reviews, building great momentum, then the last few weeks, crickets. I have not heard of anything about the algorithm changing. That doesn't mean it hasn't. I just haven't heard anything about it. But I would say, like, again, I've experienced that too personally. It's just, it's so up and down with Etsy. It's like, it just really depends on the time of year, what things are selling for holidays, for seasonal things. So I would give it some time because it can be easy to get discouraged during times like that. Like you feel like things are going really well. You're building, you're getting good reviews, good feedback. And then all of a sudden it just kind of stops. But I can say from being on Etsy for 6 years that I have experienced that cycle like over and over and over again. Like even now, like there are really slow times and we've had, a lot of great success on Etsy. So I wouldn't get discouraged. Just give it some time. Now, if you have like 2 years of crickets, then it might be something to get worried about. But in general, Etsy is just kind of like a roller coaster. It's kind of just up and down for most of us. I won't say it's like that for everyone. It depends, again, what your niche is, what your product category is, but most of us have products that sell better at certain times of the year for whatever reason. Okay, Patty, creating a Facebook group. Can you give me more detail on how to do that? And is it in addition to the business page? Yeah, so Facebook group and page are two different things. I would recommend you have both a page and a group. So, and you can have them linked. So I would go ahead and create the page and the group and have them linked so that if people find your page first, they can click over and join your group. If they find the group first, they may want to see the page for some reason. So you can kind of have different purposes for each. So to me, the group is more the place where you're going to be building a lot of engagement with your audience and your community to get them talking, to get them commenting, to get them interested in what you're doing. It's not all about just like pushing the product right in front of them. It's about building some engagement in a community and some trust, because people are more likely to purchase from you if they trust you and they know you on a personal level. So the group is a great place to be a little more personal with people, to be doing fun things like the giveaways and the freebies and all the discounts and everything. Of course, you can post if you're doing a discount or something or a sale. You can post that on your page as well. But to me, the page is kind of more of like a professional, like it's just your standard, like the information that people are going to go on to see the standard business info. It's not super personal. Some people may disagree with that. That's kind of my take on it. So I would have both for different purposes. But the group is where you're going to be kind of like pouring all of your engagement, like all of the offers, all of the freebie, all the fun things, and getting people excited about what you're offering. Okay, this question says, does the off-site advertising fee depend on the income that the owner of several Etsy stores generates, or does this apply to each of his stores separately, the 10,000 limit? So it applies to each store separately. Yeah, so Etsy will look at each separate store and it'll figure out what your offsite advertising fee is depending on the income for that specific store. All right. Let's see. Kitty says, sold in person using Square. Can they leave reviews in your shop using Square? It's a good question. I actually don't know for sure the answer to that. I would assume they could if they purchase through Etsy. Is it purchased through Etsy? I may not be understanding your question totally, but I would think if it's purchased through your Etsy shop, no matter how they purchase it, they should be able to leave a review. Okay. Giselle says, I opened my shop about a year ago, but still not making consistent sales. I'm in a saturated market, but sometimes I worry, should I continue? Is it normal to still be struggling after a year? So that's a great question. It's hard to know, if you've been struggling for a while, is it time to give up? Is it time to make a switch somehow? I would say try to be as objective as you can about your listings, about your shop. Research everything you can. You may have already done this, but I would say go through our Etsy playlist, look at all the different elements. So you need to be making sure your photos are like top quality. They look professional. They're in good lighting with a good background. They're consistent. You need to make sure you're having lots of angles on your listings. You need to make sure that your SEO, which is your tags and your titles and your keywords and your description, all of that has like a specific way that you have to do it. And forgive me, I may be like preaching to you. You may have already done all this, but if you're new, I know it can be overwhelming and you miss some of this stuff. So just go through your SEO, your photos, your listing descriptions, the front of your shop page is important. Your branding, your logo, your aesthetic of your whole shop. It needs to feel professional and consistent. You need to have an about page, your policies filled out. There's so much that goes into making a successful shop. So what I would say in answer to your question is, if it's been a long time and you've done all of that, you've done everything you know to do to like level up, then I would consider, is it your product? Is it the niche that you're in? I know you said you're in a saturated market. Maybe it's time to make a switch. Maybe it's time to pivot with the actual product that you're selling. Only you can really know that. If there's something else that you could try that maybe would be in a less saturated market, only you can know and really figure out if it's time to make that switch. But yeah, before you make any switches, I would for sure just go through all the different elements and you may even bring in some friends or people that you trust to look at your listings, to look at your shop page and tell you honestly, like brutally honest, what about these listings? Like if you were looking for this, what would turn you off? What would make you not want to purchase this? And what can I change, in the listing to make it more appealing and clickable for people? Sometimes it just takes like another set of eyes to be able to kind of see what you're not seeing. But I'm sorry. I know that's discouraging. It's, if it's been a long time and you feel like you've done a lot to try to improve, I know that can be discouraging. Okay, Laura says, I just used eRank to search for good keywords and found out that the words I've been using are missing the mark. Should I go change all the titles and tags, etc.? Laura, I would say like eRank is a good tool to use, but it's also not like the end all be all. I've done it myself without eRank for a long time too. So I would use it as a tool, but also just use your knowledge about SEO to figure out what you should be titling things and tagging things. If you're finding other things that seem like they would work better on eRank and eRank is saying like that's a good keyword to use, yeah, go ahead and there's nothing wrong with changing things and trying things out for sure. I'm constantly changing my titles and tags and stuff depending on the holiday, depending on the season. If there are listings that just aren't working for some reason, I'm always like trying different keywords and stuff. So I would just experiment with it a little bit and change it up and see if it makes difference. Always remember too, you can just go on the Etsy search bar and start typing something and look at those suggested phrases that pop up. Those will give you a good example and an idea of what are some actual phrases that are very popular and being searched currently. But yeah, if something's not working, now if eRank is saying that your phrases are bad, but you're making sales on that listing, then I wouldn't listen to eRank. If something's working and you're making sales consistently, then I wouldn't change anything. I would only change it if you realize, yeah, this listing's not really performing that well. Okay. Kitty, yeah, I think they should be able to leave a review, but I don't know for sure. Let's see. Okay. I'm new to Etsy and I'm so confused with Etsy fees in Australia and whether or not if Etsy is worth it as my products range from $2 to $15. Is there a fee tool to help with costs for Australia? So I'm not super familiar with the Etsy fees in Australia, but I do know if you go on the Etsy Seller Handbook, there are different pages you can look at that tell you the specific fees for the region that you're in or the country that you're in. So it does vary from country to country. So I would go and do some research on the Etsy handbook, and you can always contact Etsy support too if you're confused about anything. They can explain it better to you. But as far as if it's worth it, if your products range from that, I think it just really depends. It depends on what the fees are, but it also depends on shipping. So are these products that are actually being shipped or are they like a digital download? If there's shipping involved for a physical product, then you definitely need to take that into account too. That's something that people kind of overlook sometimes, but especially international shipping lately, the past few years has just like skyrocketed. And it's just sometimes it's impossible for people to make it, to still have it within a price range that the buyer is comfortable with and then cover the shipping as well. So yeah, that's, I think you should probably take into account the fees and the shipping and figure out if you're able to make the profit that you want. Because if you're not, at the end of the day, it's probably not worth it. There are different products that you could offer that would maybe make you more of a profit margin, if that makes sense. But yeah, for sure, you can look at the Etsy Seller Handbook. If you go on the main Etsy page, the Seller Handbook is down at the bottom. You just scroll all the way to the bottom of the page and you'll see where it says Seller Handbook. And then you can search through the whole handbook. So you could just search Etsy fees Australia and then something would probably pop up to tell you specifically what those are. All right, guys, I think that's all. Oh, I've missed this one. Hold on. What is a good conversion rate? Okay, so the conversion rate varies. It's not like there's one set like good conversion rate. It varies depending on your niche and depending on the price point. Some people sell more expensive items, so your conversion rate may be less because people are clicking a lot to like research, but they don't want to make the purchase necessarily if it's like an investment purchase, whereas like smaller, cheaper items, people are easily just like buying left and right and they don't really think as much about it. So I wouldn't say there's like a good conversion rate. It really depends on what type of product you have. There's an average conversion rate. I forget what it is now. I want to say it's somewhere between, what was it? 1% and 3% or 1% and 2% maybe. Y'all don't quote me on that. It may have changed because it's been a while since I've looked up what the average conversion rate is. Yeah, I think it was around that. So it may have changed. I'm not sure. But I wouldn't worry too much about the average. I would just worry about your shop and improving your own conversion rate as opposed to what it's been and leveling up for yourself. Okay, Susan says, "Hi, Kate. My shop stats tanked noticeably a few weeks ago. I hadn't changed anything except adding 2 new items a couple of weeks before that. Do you know what may have happened or how I can fix it?" Okay, so in general, this is kind of similar to the comments I was answering before. In general, my kind of answer to this is just it's sort of a mystery. Like you never know if it's going well and then all of a sudden it's just crickets and things are just not coming through anymore. It may be just the time of year. It's so up and down. It's like summer for us, summer is usually the slowest time. So I kind of know going into summer, like no matter how busy my Christmas was, summer's probably going to be slower. So of course, it depends what you sell, what your product is. But there's no easy way to know when that happens, what that's happening for. I wouldn't get too discouraged about it because Etsy is very seasonal and it goes up and down for sure. But I would just keep doing your best to improve on your listings. Do what you can to get some momentum going. I talk about that a lot when things are slow. It's up to you to sort of like get the momentum going again, get the ball rolling again. That's where your Facebook groups comes into play or your Pinterest marketing, whatever you're doing, kind of digging into that to get some traffic from external sources. So when the organic Etsy traffic seems to be tanking, you can always drive traffic from external, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, Pinterest, email, word of mouth, just like doing something in person, getting your family and friends involved, whatever it is, offering a discount or a freebie. There's things you can do to sort of like get it going again. But yeah, unfortunately, Susan, I'm sorry for that. That's something that we deal with too. It's discouraging sometimes, but don't lose heart because it always picks back up at a different time of year. It's just very up and down on Etsy. Okay, Nathan says, "How can I sell digital prints on Etsy?" So that's a very broad question. You definitely can sell digital prints on Etsy. You would create a listing, and then when the person buys it, there's a link for them to download. You link it so that they can actually have the digital download themselves and print it or do whatever they want with it. That's something that things like this are one reason why I want you guys to go join my Facebook community, because I think this is a great question for like other people that do this to answer. I don't personally sell digital anything. All of my products are physical. So it would be nice for a couple of y'all that do this already to chime in and to give some tips and wisdom from your perspective of how you can sell digital items on Etsy. Oh, we have a super chat. Yay. Thank you. Fit Habitat. Thanks so much for the $9.99 super chat. You're awesome. That makes my day. Okay. So, this is Jeremy. Okay. Thanks for taking the time to answer all of our questions. Jeremy from the Facebook group. Really appreciate all your Etsy videos too. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you so much for that. That really just makes my day. And I'm happy that you're in the Facebook group too. It's been fun to just interact with everybody and for you guys to be able to have a place to ask questions and just get to know each other on a little more personal level. So thanks so much for that. Let's see. In May is that May 22nd? In May till the 22nd, I received 32 orders, but in last week I received only 2 orders. Yep, same thing. It seems like a lot of us are going through this at this time. Something is kind of like people are not on as much in May. Again, the summer months, I would say May through probably August, July or August are typically on average the slowest months for most sellers. I won't say that across the board because some people peak in the summer for different reasons, but on average, most of us are slower in the summer. So don't get discouraged. Just keep going. Again, there's really probably no reason that you can really tell. It's just up and down sometimes. So it doesn't mean it won't pick back up. Just got to keep going. At home with Jenny. It's okay. It's okay if you're late. Hop on. You can watch it back too when we're done to see everything we talked about before this. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hopping on. If anybody has another question, I think I've seen all the ones that have come through. It may be a bit delayed. If anybody has anything else, go ahead and type it in. I can stay on for a couple more minutes and then we're going to be done for today. Okay, we have how many products should a new shop aim to list to start gaining some good feedback on their items, SEO, and what niche works for them? Okay, so new shop, I would say you for sure want to narrow your products down to a specific niche. You don't want it to be too broad to where it's confusing for people. You want it to be a specific niche and product category. But if you're talking about listings, like how many listings should a new shop have, I would aim for like a full page. So, I mean, I usually say like 12 to 15, but like whatever fills up the page so that when people look at the front of your shop page, it looks full. It doesn't look like you just started. Because sometimes if a shop only has like 2 or 3 listings up, it can look kind of like, well, they just started. People don't necessarily trust a shop that just started. So you want to make it look like it's filled out, it's professional, even if you don't have a lot of sales yet. That just having that many listings looks good to a potential buyer. Now, I will say, don't go crazy trying to get like 100 listings before you launch. That, to me, that's kind of a waste of time. Like, I think you can have a good launch with like 12 to 15 listings probably in the beginning. And then make sure, as far as getting your good feedback, make sure you're encouraging people to leave reviews. I always put a little note on the packing slip with like a little heart by it or highlight it so that people see they have the option to go leave you feedback. And there's lots of fun ways that people encourage reviews. You can have like I've heard of a review raffle where like the seller, like every quarter will have a raffle or a giveaway and they draw the winner from people that have left feedback on their reviews. So there's lots of fun, like creative ways that you can encourage good feedback. Okay, let's see. How many products did you have listed before you started seeing consistent sales? So, like I said, when I first started, it took me a couple months to get my first sale, and I probably had maybe like 12. I had probably like a page full of listings, but I will say in the beginning, my photos were not done well. They looked very like homemade. You know what I mean? Like they were just not in good lighting. They were not consistent backgrounds. I had a white sheet in the background that was like all wrinkly. They were bad. They were really bad photos in the beginning. So that's probably why it took me a while to get a sale. But I did see once I started leveling up my photos, like taking that more seriously and making them look more professional and researching photography. Like I did a lot of research on how to do good product photography and things like that. And of course, SEO. And once I started really honing in on that, I did start to see more consistent sales. So I would say, I don't remember how many products exactly I had when it started becoming more consistent. I would say probably maybe 2 pages of products. But again, too, I sort of niched down over time. In the beginning, I was a little too broad. I had several different types of products, and I started to see more consistent sales when I niched down and kind of narrowed that down a little bit. How do I convert views into sales? So of course, there's a lot that goes into this, like we've been talking about. I say the number one thing is photography. Like there's a lot of opinions about that, but for me, the number one thing is photography. If you don't have good photos, people will not even click through on your listings. It's of utmost important. You could have everything else right, but if your photography looks subpar, they're not going to think it's professional. They're not going to trust your shop. So photography for me is number one. If you're getting views, like your photography is good enough for people to click through, and then you're not getting the sales, I would go through systematically each listing and look at the different elements. What can I improve? It could be your price point. That's probably the first thing I would look at. Do I have it in the right price point? Maybe it's too expensive. So it's not even comparable to the other things that are similar to it. Maybe it's not priced up enough to where it's too cheap and people are wondering why it's so cheap. Like there must be something sketchy about it. Like, so it could be in either of those. It could be they're missing information on your listing description. Like we talked about earlier, you want to give as much information as possible. And some people they just won't buy if there's not enough information about what size it is or what material it is. Like they want to know all of the information. So it could be any of those things. Just go through your listing, every piece and part of your listing, and figure out what could it be that's causing people to view it but not continue with the purchase. All right, guys, I think that is all we have for today. Thank you guys for joining so much. Remember, if you hopped on late, you can always watch the replay. You can always go back afterward. And don't forget to hop over and join the Facebook group after this is done. You definitely want to be part of that community. It's been really fun so far getting to know all of you guys and being able to just interact and ask questions and all of that. So the link for that, of course, is in the description. And I will be next live. I will be doing a shop audit. So of course, if you're interested in getting your shop audited on a live, you can email me. It's katehayes.co@gmail.com. And type that in real quick. katehayes.co@gmail.com. So you can email me there, your link to your shop, and I will choose 1 or 2 shops from our audience to do an audit next live. So, all right, friends, thanks so much, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.